Okay, so we've got our first stage, which is putting all of our aluminium in its place. We're going to move on to the second stage, which involves securing these top intermediate sections and fitting the top on. So what you'll need for that is bag number C. You'll need a 2.5mm Allen key, 7mm socket, 4mm drill bit, and very importantly, your safety glasses. So we'll put those on. We'll move down this end. Before you start drilling, what's imperative is that there's no gap here, that those are completely homed while you drill them. I like to drill the top first and then come up from underneath. And simply repeat that process on all of your 4 points here, and then through the middle here. It's exactly the same, only on this angle. Make sure that's completely homed through there. Drill this side. Again, we're still in the right position. Just make sure you don't put your finger on the other side of that hole. Keep your fingers out of the way. Okay. Repeat that down the other end, and then we're ready to start inserting our bolts. Okay, so we've got all of our bolts, our little nuts and our washers. Look, and really the washers are an option. If you want to use them beside the nut, you can. They're probably not absolutely necessary, but if you feel more comfortable with it, by all means. Now you'll see here we've got two different lengths of bolts as well. You'll just want to sort these out. We'll pull out the long bolts, so they're going to be used in the center. And we're going to use the short bolts first. They're going to be used on both ends. There's 10mm difference. It's quite easy to see the difference in those bolts. So we'll grab our socket. Okay. All right, so we're going to bolt just these two ends, not the center and not these ends. If you do get ahead of yourself and you bolt all these up, you're just going to be taking them off at the end. So start with these two on the outside. Simply drop them through. Again, just finger tight that on there. They're a little fine thread on these, so take your time so you don't cross thread them. And a little Allen key in the top. You can do them up just firm. Don't over tighten them, just make them nice and firm. You've got a nylock nut on the inside that's going to stop that from rattling off over time. That. We'll just repeat that process on this side here, and then we'll start putting the top on. So this is our top. We're going to take that out of its bag. If you're using a pair of scissors like me, just take a bit of care. You don't want to cut it. And we've also got our aluminium bars that'll go through the center part of the top, and they will end up fitting, we're going to fit those shortly onto that centre bow through there. That's why we didn't do these up just yet, because we've got to attach our bar on there. Okay. All right. Oh, look at that, perfectly in position. So with these guys, you'll notice there's holes in different positions. You've got a hole fairly close to the end and then another couple, then you've got a reasonable gap. This is the end that you want to put in first. Just poke that open. A little tip, if you can keep the bar towards the back of the pocket, it's less likely to poke out through there and give you a bit of trouble. So just guide that through, keeping it at the back of your pocket, like that. There we go. Just push it through till you can see it in all of the cutouts there. Push them all in the same way. Glenn's going to give us a hand down the other end. He'll poke those in for us. So that's a fairly simple step, and now we'll put the top onto the frame. So we want each side of the material to come down either side of our centre bar there. So bring that through there. Oh, there we go. So we just position that pocket we were working on right on the top there. So now what we want to do, you'll see on the end of your top, there's a big pocket, runs through here. You've got to put this bar into this pocket, and that's why we didn't attach that one. So separate those. There we go. Start it in the pocket. Just take your time with it. It's not a difficult job, but that's it. There we go. Comes out, we'll put that back in. We'll do exactly the same on the other side. On the end of our pocket. There we go. You can see why it is much easier to do in the standing up position. As I mentioned, you can do it when it's lying down on the floor or on the table like this. It just takes a little bit longer. If you can, particularly for boat shops that are doing multiples of these, something like this is certainly worth investing in. Okay, we can just roughly put that in place. There's our two pockets. Okay, so what we've got here is the little Kingfisher brand. That's not only a bit of advertising for us, that also helps when you're putting it on to know which is the front and the back, which is crucial. You want to make sure that the brand goes to the back. You can tell the back, when I say the back, it'll be the back of your boat. Come around this side, we can see that we've got a main strut going, a main bow going up and over, and then we've got a main strut here. That will go towards the back of the boat. That's on the same side as your brand. So when you pop your top on, just make sure you get that in the right position, or you'll have to take it off and flip it around, which is not much fun for anyone. Okay, so now once we've got the top in the right position, the front and the back, we've got the pockets in. We just need to put these 4 bolts in place as the next step. Exactly the same as what we did up the front. Okay, next step, we want to attach the center bow to the top. So the next stage is going to be attaching the top to the center frame. What you'll need is that from out of your box. If you have a can of this silicone spray, or if you're assembling multiples of these, it's probably worth getting that. Anyway, that's in your kit. Simply tear that open and rub that on. Well, let's do it. It's just a simple, it's a silicone wipe. I'll take this. So, because these are going to slide up and down here, just want to get that, and you're just putting a bit of silicone on each one of these main sliding bows. So up to the top and down. We'll do the same down the other end. Open that up a little. Okay. These will just help you get going. I think it is always worth having some silicone spray handy. Certainly silicone spray is a much better option. We don't recommend using an oil base like a WD-40 or something like that, because it tends to attract grime and grit. So silicone based product is much better for this purpose. It just helps that slide so much easier up and down. So once we've got that on, if we set it to about an angle, something like that, you can lock that off. We'll do the same on both sides. There we go. Okay. Like that. Oops. Like that. When we drilled through one side here and we drilled through the second side, I think it's worthwhile just running your drill through just to make sure that they line up nicely. It's going to be a lot easier for your bolt to go through. Alright, so this is where we'll start to attach the top to the frame. You can see in here where we've slid our little flat bar through. I could start with putting, now these are our long bolts, because they've got to go through extra material. Line that up with the end hole. You can see the last hole there. Slide that through. And then on this side, we're just going to match that up. It can be a little fiddly. There we go. That one's through there. So again, you'll just want to finger tight your nut on. The other thing that I didn't mention, but we want to make sure, if you have a look in here, come in from this side, you can see how that strap is on the wrong side of the bar. So you just want to make sure before you commit too far that we've got a strap hanging down either side of the bar there at both ends. So there's a strap at both ends. Make sure that's right across the top of the bar. Okay. So we've got our next bolt to put in. that can go in through here. If you find they're a little bit stiff to get in, you can get your Allen key, put it in the end, just turn it around gently. It'll thread its own way through till it comes out to the other side. You can feel it coming through there. We'll make sure it's going, yep, that's through the right spot. Once we've got it on, again, just finger tight with your nut. You don't want to do any of these up tight yet, you just want them finger tight. So it's that process that we've just gone through, and we want to put all of those bolts right across the top to the other side. Okay, so we've got all those in place but not tight. I want to leave them loose for the moment. We're going to open up the top. Before we do, just want to make sure that you've got all of your corners sitting on and in place. All these 4 corners, which they are on this one. And then Glenn's going to help me. We'll open these guys up. Lock that off. Open that up. You just lock those cams back in place there, and that'll keep that in position. Now that's the top. We're not that far off being done. Okay, so now that we've got it in position, we've just got 4 screws we need to put, 1 in each corner up underneath there, and I'll show you how to put them in. If you're like me, you might need these. You just want to feel there's a little dome fitting right there. You can feel where it is. So you want to go nice and gentle here. Find the center of that. Again, don't over tighten it, just do it up till it's firm. And repeat that process in each of the 4 corners. You'll notice I've grown a bit of facial hair since the last little episode, but we want to make a short clip about an update to the Kingfisher product, and this makes it so much easier to fit your top on. You'll notice in here there's 2 stainless steel press studs. They do a couple of things. One is they stop your top, that's where you want to hone your top when you clip it right up there. And the other is when you fix your top on, it's now simply a matter of just snapping those on, and that's it, all done, both sides. Okay, so while we've got our top in place, we're going to go back underneath, tighten up those bolts we put through the middle that we left loose until we had the top fixed across there. So again, we just want our Allen key and our 7mm socket. Tighten them into place. Okay, so we're going to fine tune our cam lock levers. Now these guys here. Ideally what you want is the lever so that when you've got it clipped in place, it doesn't slide down. It gave a little bit, but you want it to slide when it's open. So if you need to, you can give it an extra turn. That locks in place. That doesn't want to move. And then when it's open, it wants to slide nice and freely. And just do that on all 4, set them in position.